Tonight we're going to start straight away with Sweden, where Andra Chansen was the order of the day. Now, some people may think Second Chance is actually something that, you know, is it just final filler? In actual fact, let me tell you now, listeners, it is not. Robin Sternberg in 2013 went to the final through the Second Chance system and actually won, representing Sweden with the song You in Eurovision. And then last year in the Second Chance, Felix Sandman went on to come second in the Melodifestivalen grand final as well. Now, as Euro fans, you should know there were 4 duels taking place, and the first duel this evening was Andreas versus Anna Bergendahl. Let's go straight in to Gustav. He's an ESC Fan TV newbie. He's from Sweden. Good evening, Gustav.
Hello.
First duel this evening, Andreas versus Anna. What did you make of this duel?
Yeah, first of all, let me just say that you would have me really pissed if Anna didn't qualify. So that's where I stand on all of it. But I am a big fan of Anna. So yeah, that was almost it. It was Anna all the way for me.
Are you still singing that refrain? Because that's the one thing that is constantly going in through my head at the moment. Ashes to ashes.
Yes.
Is she going to win next week?
No, she's not going to win. And I'm quite happy about that because it would be nerve-wracking to see her go to Eurovision once again. So, yeah.
Well, you know, it would be nice to see her lay the old ghosts to rest, though, don't you think?
True. But still.
Okay. But still, her chances are, well, we know we've got John Ludwig, we know we've got Victoria, Malu, and a whole host of others as well in there as well for next week. Moving on to our correspondent from Australia. G'day, Mitchell.
G'day, mate. It's Shirley calling.
First duel this evening, Andreas versus Anna. What were we thinking? Was this as expected for you?
Yeah, I gave it to Anna, and yeah, I'm glad Anna won. I always saw Army of Us as kind of like a U2 sound, like he could be the Swedish Bono or something. And I always saw Ashes to Ashes as a mix of Jolene and You're So Vain. I don't know why. But yeah, the song grew on me the second time around, so that was my winner.
And is she gonna win next week?
Well, you're competing with a bunch of other big songs. I'm not sure. I think it might get in the middle. I'm not sure.
It could be. Personally, I would like to see Anna lay the ghosts to rest. I think, along with most other people, I had Anna down as tonight's winner in that duel. The song is very catchy, and it's typical Anna Bergendahl with that style as well, which is, you know, a winner in my eyes. Now, the second duel of the evening was between Vlad and Nano. Nano went on to win this. Need to say good evening to Stuart.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Hello. Now, Vlad versus Nano. Am I right in having this sneaking suspicion that this was an upset in your eyes this evening?
I thought so, yeah. I thought Vlad had this in the bag. I thought his vocals were a little bit shaky, although weirdly, I was reading the Melfest Twitter, and they were saying that he thought this was his best performance ever. I thought he was a little bit shaky vocally, but his performance was on point. I thought he had a very good chance of beating Nano. I thought this could be the song that beats Nano. Nano was a big favourite to win Melfest a few years ago. And do you know what? He didn't. Nano won. Bit of a surprise for me.
And was this a surprise for you as well, Phil and Michelle?
Not really. When Blood started, I thought it was okay, but the song just was a bit monotone, and I thought his vocals were a bit shaky in places. Whereas I don't think you can say that about Nano. That was a good performance. It was the better song. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but it was the better of the two.
And it was Plastic Jacket Lad or Poor Man's Rag and Bone Man. again, didn't care. I did not care one iota who won this. I thought they were both shocking, absolutely shocking.
You know what? I'm going to bring Gustav in on this. Gustav, do you think that this, and I'm going to push this opinion towards you, that this was the weakest duel of the 4 that was presented this evening?
Yes, it was the weakest one. To be honest, I don't like any of the songs in this duel, but I was team Vlad.
Stuart is currently doing a victory sign.
Yeah, Vlad is charming. We need some charm in the final. Sadly, we didn't get it.
It's confirmation I have good ears, Tom.
Debatable. This is the person that championed Dolly style. Now, it is also interesting to know, and I don't know whether this would play a part in the Swedish voting, but on the Twitter feed, it was actually mentioned that Nano cancelled all his press this week for family reasons. And that was because there was a car crash involving one of his family members. We could speculate it. It's not our place to speculate it, but he did actually say, love you, little brother, at the end of his performance this evening as well. Okay, so our thoughts actually go out to his family for that. And hopefully they'll be with him watching in the final next week. Nano taking the 7th slot in the Melodifestivalen final next week. Now, the third duel of the evening, Martin Stenmark versus Lisa Ajax. Now, I need to give some people some fascinating facts on this one. Obviously, Martin, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, got through to Andra Chansen, whilst his sister-in-law, Lena Hedlund, went straight through to the grand final with victorious. Lena saying that she was voting for him tonight, but the family connections not to be beaten actually exist in Lisa Ajax's song as well. Lisa Ajax's song was actually written by Isa Molin, and her father is Bobby Lundgren. I've probably not pronounced that right, but he's written Anna's song Ashes to Ashes. So the family connections do spread far and wide. I thought this potentially was one of the strongest duels of the Andra Chansen this evening. Gonna say good evening to Joanne. Joanne, were you watching Martin versus Lisa? Did you think that the right result came out of this one?
Yeah, I did actually. I mean, I had my suspicions Martin may get through, only because of his popularity, because he's well known. But then, of course, Lisa is as well. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Lisa's song, but she did sing it really, really well. And I do think that the right one went through in the end. Absolutely.
Now, I'm just going to bring Martin in on this. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening. You all right?
I'm okay. Now, are you someone who is a fan of Lisa Ajax? And do you agree with this? This is what went on Twitter before the performance this evening. And she said, I think people may have to listen to my song one more time to really grasp my song. Do you reckon that's a fair comment on Lisa's song?
Possibly. It was better tonight than it was in the semi-final that she was in originally, because she just about got the high note as well. Problem is, if you've got to listen to it more than once, it's obviously not going to be going through to Eurovision, because it's, you don't have growers don't work. So it's a good song. She performed it really well, and she did it perfectly tonight, and I think probably just about deserved to win this one, although Martin was probably the best, well, maybe not one of the best runners up, so to speak, of the duels. I think he did pretty well. He performed it well, but yeah, I think Lisa's was better out of those.
Now, just going to bring Elliot on this. Surely Martin Stenmark deserved to get through with just the song title alone. Translates as "Let the Shit Burn" in English.
Well, if he refers to the shit as the blouse he wore in the semi-final, then yes, that has burned somewhere, and I'm glad. But this was, for me, this was the weakest duel, because neither song really sold it to me. Like I said, I didn't enjoy this duel at all. Didn't like Martin's song. I found it a bit dull and repetitive. Didn't like Lisa's song for the same problem. The fact she has to say, give it one more chance, is a major red flag in Eurovision. Major red flag. And as I said to Stuart, whilst the performance is going on, I changed the lyrics to, I am bored, dead or alive, I am bored. It proves it because Lisa's going second, and I never understood where the hype where this should win came from. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Interesting. Do you know what? I'm going to go to Stuart on this because I know Stuart has been a massive fan of Lisa Ajax
He's
for
been
one
trying
reason
for
or
weeks.
another.
Yeah, the trouble is, every time I back a song, it seems to do really badly, Tom. Yeah, I think Lisa Ajax is a Eurovision winner in the making. She's not doing it with this song. She's got such a fantastic voice. One thing different from her semi-final performance tonight, she brought the emotion, which we didn't see last week. This for me was an absolute 100% qualifier of the two. I thought she was night and day from Martin Stenmark, who Martin I love. I loved Las Vegas at Eurovision. This, however, was night and day. 100% the right choice.
Interesting. And Gustav, bringing you in, was it the right choice?
It was the right choice. I don't like Lisa Ajax, but I love the song. I love the song from the first time I heard it. So yeah, it was the right choice.
You know what? Go on, carry on. Sorry.
Even though I really don't like Lisa Ajax.
I have to say, she did sell the song a lot more this week. I'm still not a fan of the way she stages it, though, because I think the lights at the back totally distract from her performance, and there needs to be another way of doing it. I can understand why they're there, but I don't actually think it really works for her. It'll be interesting to see if she changes anything around next week.
Can I just make a final point on Lisa Ajax? I have a theory as to why she hasn't cracked Melfest yet. Her issue is, since she's done Idol, her singles and her Melfest entries are polar opposites. She did Blue Eyed Girl, which was an up-tempo pop song, which was great. Then she did Melfest. Then she's gone down R&B singles, and all her songs have been ballads since. Her Melfest songs aren't her. It does feel like she's given a song to sing, and I think that's the issue, because it doesn't fit with her back catalogue.
That's an interesting point, and it'll be interesting to see, actually, if, as expected, she doesn't represent Sweden in Eurovision, and she is just makes up the places next week. If she comes back next year or maybe the year after with a song that she has more ownership over, and only time will tell with that one.
Can I just make a final point on that, Tom? Lisa Ajax, if she ever listens to this video, your song "Gimme That," gimme that, go listen to that on Spotify. That's the song she should be sending to Eurovision. That will win Eurovision. Back to you, Tom.
Okay, now the final duel of the evening. It was Rebecka Karlsson versus Arvingarna, and I'm sure I still don't actually pronounce that properly in any way, shape, or form. But let's be honest, this was possibly the duel of the evening, and I can actually tell you that with the votes, the highest number of votes received by a non-qualifier this evening went to Rebecka Karlsson, who got nearly 800,000 votes in the public vote. Now, I'm going to go to Yerna with this one. Good evening, Yerna.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello. Now, Rebecka Karlsson and the song I Do, sung by the other group that I'm not actually going to attempt pronouncing anymore. What one was the winner for you this evening?
It was a tough choice because I like both of them. I like the four guys or three guys. I don't know. I think it was three. Yeah. I like three guys, but I also liked Rebecka. So actually, I would have been happy with both of them. So I'm happy.
So either way, it's a winner in your eyes. I've come across to Mitchell. Do you think Rebecka should have gone through?
My choice was Rebecka. Although, having said that, out of the females, I thought she was maybe one of the weaker ones. I did like the song. I thought that it progressed well, but I thought at the end she was rather pitchy from the performance that I'd seen. She kind of moved from note to note in the high sections with a lot of hard work, and I thought she was a bit pitchy. But yeah, the only problem I had with I Do was I always thought it sounded more like a tribute kind of song, like a, you know, going back in time kind of thing. But I understand the appeal, and I know one of my aunties would really like this song. She goes to like Eagles concerts and all that kind of stuff, so I think this is up her alley. So I could see the audience for it. Yeah.
To be fair, I did pick up the lyrics of I Do very quickly. It's a very, very easy to sing along song. Just gonna go to Gustav on this. One of the things with Rebecca's act this evening, she changed her background, she added pyrotechnics to it. Do you think maybe there was an element of trying too hard to push herself over the line in the face of an act that, dare I say it, was traditional almost in a way?
I think that she was indeed trying a bit too hard. The thing was that in Sweden, it was quite obvious that that Arvingarna would go through. So I think she did everything to try to take that place, but it was still obvious that Arvingarna would win this one, even though I gave her 5 votes just out of pity.
Oh, does this mean that you just gave her 5 votes out of pity, and therefore you gave Arvingarna more votes? Or
no, actually I just voted for her because I felt bad for her. I wanted her to go through.
And do you know what? And I think she would have made a great closing act as well, because it does feel it's going to be interesting to see how it works with Arvingarna closing the show next week. I think that could be. Go on.
I think it was quite an obvious choice. If you look back at the previous closers, we had Boogeyman Blues a couple of years ago and stuff like that. So I think it was kind of obvious, actually.
Okay, now I know one man who absolutely loves Arvingarna, has been singing it all the time. We can hear him singing in the shower, miles away. Stuart, Arvingarna, I do or I don't?
It's a big I do for Arvingarna. It's taken us back to '93 and Eloise, isn't it? It's an Eloise for 2019. That's what it is. I was never a fan of Rebecka Karlsson at all. Never liked the song. She's got a great vocal. Love her. The song sounds far too generic for me. And if you get a generic song up against a Schlager classic in the making, I'm always going to pair for the Schlager classic, Tom.
And that's nothing to do with the fact that you've been drinking, I'm sure. Now, Stuart, you are also monitoring the chat room this evening. Don't forget, guys, if you have any comments, then do put them in the chat box. We'll post them to the panel throughout the show. Stuart, what's the chat room abuzz with this evening?
Well, there's a lot of talk about Portugal, Tom, so I think we're going to get into some good discussion later. The Portuguese finals, we know, is ongoing. In fact, it finishes at about 6 a.m. Central European time. It goes on for nearly 12 hours. So there'll be some good discussion later, and many of the Portuguese fans will be up all night watching this one, Tom. Back at you.
Okay. Now, the final thing to say about Melodifestivalen is that the running order for next week is actually announced. And for those of you that haven't seen it, whilst I have no fancy graphic, I can tell you the opening song goes to John Henrik. You've then got Lisa Ajax, Mohombi, Lena Headland, Bishara. Anna Bergendahl takes the 6th slot, followed by Nano. Then we've got Hannah and Liamu, Malu, John Ludwig, Victoria. And then finally, as we've already said, closing the show is Arvingarna with I Do. Still can't pronounce it right. Elliot, coming to you, do you think this running order is going to dent any chances certain people have of winning Melodifestivalen next week?
Yeah, I think it's obvious John Henrik's not going to win. Opening the show, I actually predicted 8th down pretty spot on. I knew John Henrik and Victoria were put next to each other. I knew they are the two head-to-head, so it's very similar to 2016 Victoria was a contender, where she went straight after Flans, and it's obvious they were meant to be the two that were fighting. So I think that's the way Krista Bjorkman's may kind of gone, these are the two, which do you want? I think Malu has just been sacrificed, being put between Hannah, Liamu, then Victoria, then John. I just think she's been thrown in there, which is a shame. Yeah, I do think this has dented a lot of people's chances, and it just confirms that I think the only 3 that can or will win will be Hold You, Too Late for Love, or Not With Me. And I really want it to be Hannah and Liamu, because I want Sweden to take a risk.
Interesting. Gustav, what would you like to see the winning song be next week?
Let's just remember that number 6 is kind of a lucky number in Melodifestivalen.
This is true, very true.
We have Loreen and Måns from that number. So a guy can hope, but I think it's going to be between Hannah, Liamu, John, or Victoria.
Okay. Now, do you know what? I'm going to open up a bit of discussion here, and I'm going to come to Stuart, I think, for this. Malu actually won her semi-final. And in actual fact, if I'm right in thinking, she actually won the semi-final up against Hannah and Liamu as well. Do you think Malu can be written off as easily next week?
Well, I don't know. She won the semi-final. They pick the 2 singers in random, I think. So I don't know whether she won it or whether Hannah and Liamu won it. I'd have to go to Gustav for that, because I couldn't tell you. I think Hannah and Liamu are way above Malu. And do you know what? I'm not going to give too much away, Tom, because I want to wait till Wednesday's show when we're going to review this properly. But I think that Sweden have got a very strong final this year.
This is true. And Gustav, can you confirm that for us?
Yes, it's in random order. Yeah.
It's random order.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to, Stuart, quickly trail Wednesday's show? You've alluded to it. We will trail it, of course, at the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Wednesday's show, don't miss it. It will be fire. We will be talking Sweden Melodifestivalen, the final preview. We will go through all 12 songs. We will discuss the potential winners, the potential losers, and why Sweden should take a risk and potentially go on to win Eurovision in Tel Aviv, so we can all go back to Stockholm and have such a fantastic party in 2020. Back to you, Tom.